Hi again. I've just got back to Europe after a long haul trip away to Southeast Asia or the other side of the world. And when I was over there a few days ago, I was having a conversation with a friend about the possibility of being able to retire early, even when you're on a low income. This guy is actually not on a low income, he's on a pretty decent wage, but it got me thinking, what about the people that are earning minimum wage? Is it even possible to retire very quickly, even within the space of 5 years? And as the conversation continued, it kind of steered towards the idea of, well, what's better? Is it better to live frugally, to try and save and invest as much as you can? Or is it better to work as much as you can and earn and save money that way? And I got thinking about it. And I mean, normally, obviously, I would say saving money, living frugally is the best way. But when it comes to actually wanting to retire very quickly, as quickly as possible, then in actual fact, both is good. And that's exactly what we're going to get into right now. There's going to be quite a lot of wisdom here, hopefully. And anybody that is watching who's on a low income, I think this should give you the motivation that you need if you do want to retire very quickly as well. So let's get into it. So, like I said, step number one, absolute crucial, is to be saving as much as possible while living frugally. And although during this video I'm going to be recommending that you work long hours, I would never normally advise that. I'm totally against working long hours. I'm all for working as little as possible, enjoying life as much as possible, being healthy and being happy. And I think working long hours goes against all of that unless you're doing a job that you really love, but that's pretty rare. So I'm only recommending what I'm about to say as a temporary solution in order to retire quickly and have maximum freedom with your time. Alright, so you might already be living frugally and managing to save a little bit. I know I did a video recently about working a low income wage and still managing to save about 25%, but can you take it even further? Can you take it to the absolute max? This is going to mean major cutbacks, and like I mentioned in that video, number one on the major cutback list is finding a cheaper place to live. So step number two, if you haven't already started, is downgrading your accommodation. In fact, to achieve early retirement in 5 years, you're going to need to find the absolute cheapest place possible, which is probably going to mean moving into a house share. A house share is where you have your own room, but you share the kitchen and the bathroom with other occupants of the house. It's the cheapest possible way to live, unless you're actually going to share a room with somebody, but I don't think we need to go that far. All the bills are usually covered in a house share, so the full figure that you get when you move into these places is what you're going to pay a week. I can give you an example here from a place in Newcastle, which is the city where I'm from in the UK, and this is how much you're going to be looking at per week, all bills included. Now, if you're watching and you're rolling your eyes and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to share a bathroom with people and I don't want to share a kitchen with people either, I don't even want to live with other people, then keep watching, because it's not quite as bad as you think. You are going to need a second income. That means taking on another job. So you're going to be working two jobs. Even if both are minimum wage, I still believe that you can do this in 5 years. But the benefit of this is the fact that you're going to be working long hours, so you're not actually going to be home that much. Home is going to basically be a place to sleep more than anything. That way you can be saving as much money as possible. Long hours, less freedom, and I know it sounds terrible, but if you choose the right job positions, it might not be as bad as you think. We'll get into that in a minute, but if you're still watching and you haven't been put off, then you might actually have what it takes to achieve this. It's not going to be easy, but it is doable, even on minimum wage. Alright, let's crunch some numbers. So here in the UK, minimum wage is £10.42 per hour. I'm going to be doing this in pounds, but if you want to convert it to dollars, it's very easy. You just add a couple of dollars to every £10. So it would be $13 instead of £10.42. Meaning a full-time 40-hour working week will bring in almost £20,000 per year after tax, which is currently about $25,000. An additional 30-hour job earning minimum wage will bring in an extra £13,000 per year after tax. And if you're seriously considering following this action plan, then I would recommend that you go and check out my video Escaping the 9 to 5, where I talk about choosing a job that allows you a certain amount of freedom so you can do the things that you enjoy while being paid to work. Those jobs are out there, and they would make this whole endeavour a lot more bearable than if you were to choose minimum wage jobs that are soul destroying. A job that allows you to spend time with friends, read books, listen to music, maybe play a musical instrument. There's jobs like this out there, and they'll make this whole process a lot easier. Alright, so with your primary 40 hours a week job plus your secondary job, you're going to be looking at 70 hours a week minimum wage, which brings you to £33,000 per year after tax. If you want to retire in 5 years, you're going to want to look to save and invest around 75% of this income, leaving you with around £8,000 per year to live on, which I imagine is absolutely terrifying to a lot of people, but it is definitely achievable. The house share that you're moving into shouldn't cost you more than about £5,000 per year. That's about £100 per week. So it's definitely doable, definitely achievable. Remember, you're only really going to be sleeping there because you're going to be working around 70 hours per week. So it doesn't really matter how luxurious it is or anything like that. And because you're working 70 hours a week, this is part of the reason that those jobs that you choose, they really need to be something that you're going to enjoy or allows you a bit of freedom. I know when I was following this plan myself, I took on my second job as a delivery driver, delivering fast food, Chinese, pizzas, things like that. And it was great. I was allowed friends in the car. We had a laugh. When my friends weren't there, I could listen to music, listen to audiobooks. I could get free food. So that was keeping my costs down even more. These kinds of jobs are out there. It's just finding them. Okay, so with the £5,000 in accommodation, the remaining £3,000 should be enough each year for food and entertainment. If you don't believe me on this, go check out my video where I show you exactly how much I spend in a day while home in the UK. I only work a few hours each month and still manage to spend less than £10 per day, but when you're working 300 hours per month, your daily spending should be even less than £10 per day. So if you were to follow this plan for just 5 years, you'd have around £125,000 invested that you could then retire on. And yes, it's absolutely possible to retire on this amount of money. Whether you've decided to invest the money into an index fund or a rental property, you should be looking to receive about 11% annually. This is around £13,000 per year, which is actually way more than the £8,000 that you've now become accustomed to living on. At this point, you could continue living frugally and completely retire, or you could choose to semi-retire and still do a little bit of work. That's what I chose to do. I continued to work even though I didn't need to anymore. Or, like my friend who I was having the conversation with, you might choose to move to a country where £13,000 a year can actually afford you a really nice lifestyle. Somewhere like Brazil, where he's thinking about going, or even Thailand, where I've just come back from. While in Thailand, I was living on a tiny paradise island, one of the most beautiful places on the planet, where I was spending my days swimming in the pool, swimming in the ocean, reading, working out, and oftentimes just lazing in the hammock on the porch of my bungalow. And all of this only cost me £14 per day, including the cost of accommodation and food. So don't tell me that it's not possible, because it definitely is. I think the hardest part of this is actually mindfucking yourself into doing the work for those 3 to 5 years. Depending on your income level, some people it's going to take longer, some people less. But yeah, doing the work and cultivating the delayed gratification. I mean, doing this, no matter what, your future self is going to thank you for it. And I love this quote by Muhammad Ali that says, "I hated every minute of training, but I said to myself, don't quit, suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." I love that little nugget of wisdom. Anyway, it's all food for thought. If it has helped or inspired even 1 or 2 people out there, I'd be over the moon. And if you like the video, then make sure to click that like button, because it really helps the channel out. And obviously subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm going to leave you now with a guy who embodies the whole live frugally while still working pretty hard. His name is Warren Buffett, or Buffet. Who knows what how you pronounce his name. And I will hopefully see you next time. Ciao.